Hello, welcome to my review of Star Trek Discovery, the first 9 episodes. This will be the spoiler-free portion of the review. Okay, so I will give a warning and then talk some spoilers later. But big Star Trek fan, and I can see that this series could cause a lot of problems among Star Trek fans because it veers far away from what many traditionalist Star Trek fan would want, but it works for me. I enjoy it very much. Right off the bat, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was a pleasant surprise. As a huge Star Trek fan, I like just about everything Star Trek. Some more than the other. It's funny that over the years that whenever I met Star Trek fan, especially the fan that came in after the original series, the one that came in with Radar and Jean-Luc Picard, that generation of Star Trek fan, occasionally I have met some fan of that show that complained that the older series are campy, with bad acting and bad special effect and this and that, but for me that's what the charm was, as far as the bad crap or special effect, because that's what Star Trek is not about. Fancy set with fancy special effects. So it's always about the characters. It's a character-driven sci-fi show. I love Spock, I love Kirk, I love McCoy from the original series, and over the years, over the many different Star Trek show, I would say that Deep Space Nine is my favorite because I love the characters that was built into that show. And the storyline too is veer away from this constant discovery, finding new planet, new species, and it was different. Deep Space Nine was different for me, and I enjoyed it. And so Discovery is another major leap as far as differences. The production value of this series is significantly higher. So I don't have any problem with the change in the look of the Klingon. Sure, the first time, the first episode, it was slightly jarring because, after decades, after 30-40 years of seeing Klingons the way we all see Klingons, to see them in this manners, in the way they look, dress, everything, was a bit jarring, but I enjoy what they did on the screen. I enjoy the extended amount of time that the show gave to the Klingon Empire, as well as the Klingon characters. I think that's very well done. To me, the strength of the show is bookend by the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes. I thought episode 1, 2, 8, and 9 are my 4 favorite. The middle 5 were okay for the most part, except for episode 7. Episode 7 was my least favorite because it's centered around time traveling, and I'm not a big fan of Groundhog Day time traveling kind of storytelling. Okay, minor spoilers right there. I think most of the characters works for me. The diverse cast they had, the different personalities works. Surprisingly, I like just about every character they tossed on the screen. Eventually, it took a few episodes to get used to the head engineer. The name escaped my mind right now, but the head engineer that have that was his lover partner is the doctor on the ship. The doctor is fine, but the head engineer was a bit of an arrogant a-hole, which not something that we used to as far as Star Trek fan. You know, Star Trek fan over the years, you see a lot of this show changed the way I see Starfleet ship members. You know, because usually you see very well-mannered, polite kind of interaction between the people on the ship, but not in this series. Okay, there's plenty of not well manners, not polite, not politically correct kind of banters between the members of the ships, and I like that. Without giving away too much spoiler, since this is a spoiler-free portion, that I would say that the twist, the big twist at the conclusion of the 8th and 9th episode was very fascinating. Ash Tyler, Lieutenant Ash Tyler, is perhaps the most interesting plot that I hope we can discover in the next year, when the show will come back in mid-January, I believe. And so it's an 8 out of 10 for me. And here comes the spoiler portion. If you stick around, then you'll hear some spoiler. Okay, here we go. I think the first 9 episodes probably was shot before they launched the series, right? And I think in many ways they didn't know what kind of reaction they will get, whether the show is going to be canceled after 9 seasons. I think that's what kind of forced the writers into wrapping up the Klingon War. That's just my hunch. I could be wrong that the Klingon War is over, but it seemed to me that the Klingon War could have been something that go on for years and years and years, much like the Dominion War was with the Founders and the Jem'Hadar. But for some reason, personally, I felt they would wrap it up too quick. At least from what I can tell, that they basically wrap up the Klingon War. Maybe that's so that, you know, if the show did not get picked up, at least there are closure for us fans that enjoyed the first 9 episodes. We're not left hanging. So maybe that's the reason. But regardless, I wish they did end it. For sure, I can't wait to see what happened with Ash Tyler, how they basically, he's a Klingon, okay, and what's gonna happen with that character and his wife / girlfriend, the Klingon that was captured. That is the most interesting part of the cliffhangers and moving forward. The lead character of the show, Michael, she get a lot of hates for some reason. I think she did an okay job. You know, she's not my favorite character on the show, but I don't understand the hate that she's receiving from the fans. You know, at least from what I gather, she seemed to be like the least liked character in the show, and I tend to, well, I disagree with that. I think she did an okay job. I liked her. I disliked the head engineer the most in the beginning, just because he was such an arrogant prick. But over the next few episodes, he won me over. I don't dislike or hate him anymore. But that's it. That's, you know, my review for Star Trek Discovery, the first 9 episodes. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.